What up? What up? What up, everybody? Welcome to the In Off the Bench podcast. I am Daniel Ball. He is my brother from another mother. That is my boy, Jim Cross. And Jim, we got another good one. We're talking to Connor Fennell of Vanderbilt. Obviously a lot of regional action that we could talk about, but really we want to get Connor's story. We haven't had him on. We want to get the backstory. We want to talk to him about Vanderbilt baseball. We want to talk about him, the tradition, the history, and just the amount of success that Vanderbilt has had. And we want to talk about a recap of this season and everything that he has going on and talk about the future. But before we bring Connor on, got to plug the sponsors, Jim. The best sponsors in the game. Chinook Seeds, whether you're on the field or in the boardroom signing deals, Chinook helps you get the job done. 8 flavors, mild to wild. Go to your local gas station, convenience store, grocery store. Pick up the best seeds in the game. And Jesus One Apparel, empowering men, women, and children to live and embody the message of John 16:33. Jesus won and continues to win each and every single day. Jim, I'm ready, man. Like, it seems like it's been forever since we've talked and we've been on here, but really it's just a lot of baseball has been had and it just seems like forever. But help me welcome onto the show. Let's get to it. Connor Fennell, Vanderbilt baseball. Connor, what is up, brother?
Hello, y'all hear me?
Yeah, man. Loud and clear. What's up?
What's up? How you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. You know, as Jim says, we're blessed. We are blessed.
Blessed to have you. Look, I'm not gonna waste any time, Daniel. I got prepared for this episode. I had to ask Connor about this. Would you drive this, Connor?
um, yeah, I'd take it for a spin around the block, maybe.
No, I saw that when I was at the SEC tournament. He was proud of it. Took a picture, the Whistler, of course, and I was like, actually, I think I could get down with it, Daniel. Like, it's a little bit too much, but like, I don't know, it's fun, man. If you're that much into it, but I was curious if one of the players would be willing to drive that around. I don't know that it might be good on your status, but it's all in fun. But let me ask you a question. Right now, Ole Miss is on against Murray State. You got LSU playing Little Rock right now, Tennessee, all these games going on. Is there any team now that Vandy's out of it? Is there any team that you have some boys on or you have a vested interest that you would like to see win it? Or is it one of those things that, man, it was your team or bust and could care less?
I don't really got any personal boys that are on any teams that are still in, I don't think, because Dayton's not in. But I don't really have a favorite to win it. I mean, I always like the underdog, so any of the, Murray State or Little Rock, if they can,
Me and
have an
Daniel are on the
upset.
Coastal Carolina train if it's going to be one of the mid majors.
Yeah.
They all year their midweek schedule they play a ACC Titan. They've been winning these games. They've been showing all year that they're not scared of anybody, and they even didn't get picked to win their own region. Everybody was saying Florida was going to win, and Coastal Carolina did nothing but take care of business. So me and Daniel are on the Coastal train, but we're with you. I think it's always good because you have your people who are dedicated fans to their team. But I think when you get the casual fans, those who just tune into the College World Series, they want to see the Cinderellas. It's the same thing with March Madness. I think those are what move the needle. So I agree with you. It'd be cool to see one of them. Not Murray State, though. My boy, I do have boys on Ole Miss. So I need that to not happen. The comebacks happen right now. I need that one to simmer down. We've got, Daniel, like 9 or 10 guests on Ole Miss. So that one's not too much fun. But, man, enough of me rambling. Let's get to a story, Daniel.
Yeah, man. Connor, obviously, we talk to players from all over the country. You are from the Northeast, a Jersey or a New Hampshire guy. And, I don't think we've had anybody from New Hampshire specifically, but some Northeasterners for sure. But, tell me about growing up in Londonderry, New Hampshire. What is New Hampshire all about? Like, I've never been there. I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to go there, but like, tell me about it. What's it like growing up there?
Yeah, it's definitely cold up there. So if you ever get up there, make sure you bring a jacket. But
And just like that,
I
you make
loved
sure
growing up
Daniel
there.
never comes there.
I,
He lives in Florida for a reason.
I run
Okay.
from anything below 50. Like, that ain't for me. It's just
Yeah,
not.
it definitely gets below 50 quite often in New Hampshire. So, but
What is what is the one, like, if I was, like, hypothetically, quote unquote, go to New Hampshire or Londonderry, where would I have to go? What would I have to experience, do, or go eat, or what's the one thing?
I would say for sure go to Lake Winnipesaukee. You know, it's a pretty beautiful lake up there, and it's right in northern New Hampshire. It's in the mountains, so it's definitely some pretty sights. It's a pretty big lake, and there's a lot of really cool places on that lake. So I would say that's somewhere you gotta definitely check out.
Have you personally been there? That's the big
Yeah,
question. Okay,
yeah.
because we've had numerous guests that have been from places
But
where,
hey, I'm gonna tell you one thing. When it came to the lakes, Daniel, they were all female guests. So, man, I think he ain't gonna throw us somewhere he ain't never been.
no, like these guests are from, it was like Lake
Bear
Town,
Lake.
Deer Lake, Wisconsin. And I'm like, well, what's the thing to do? Is Deer Lake? And they're like, I don't know. I've never been there.
Mm.
Like, but at least you're telling me somewhere that you've been. And obviously, I think, much like a lot of the like Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, like they're very beautiful areas and have a lot of good things as far as outdoors and stuff. Obviously, you can't spend a whole lot of time outdoors. I mean, because
Mhm.
I'd say half the year is pretty rough around there. But obviously, you make it work. You got two brothers. You got mom, dad, big family, small family. Are you the middle brother, the youngest, the oldest? Like, what's it look like?
Yeah, I'm the baby. I'm the youngest of two older brothers.
Oh
So
man, how was growing up? I mean, you a lot of scars, a lot of bruises.
we actually didn't fight very often. The only time I would get the scars and the bruises was when I was hanging out with my oldest brother and his friends, actually playing sports like baseball, basketball, football. That's probably when I get most of the scars.
I don't
That's
know why he's a dog, Daniel. It's
how
always the younger siblings.
they all. Everybody that we talk to that's been the youngest sibling and they play with their older siblings. It's always this. They're very elite just because they're constantly playing above their age class, and some guys have had the luxury of playing on the same team with their older brothers and been the worst player on the team because everyone's just older. Not that they're not
Mhm.
good. It's just the talent level is just 2 years above where they should be. And eventually they catch up and exceed. And like before you know it, they're signing, to play in the SEC in the damn eighth grade. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
And
but
ironically, the older brother is the one that ends up at the mid major, right? Like younger brother ends up with the shine.
Hey, it is what it is, man, and that's the perks of being the younger bro. Like you see the mistakes, you see it all in front of you, and you go, all right, I know how to get to the next level. They kind
hmm
of paved a easier way to show me. Now let me follow that road, and then when I get to the right spot, I'm gonna make my jump and I'm gonna go.
yeah.
But for you, 2023 New Hampshire Pitcher of the Year, you helped the team do a state championship in 2023, 8-0 record, 59 innings, 82 strikeouts, 1.19 ERA as a senior. How good is the level of baseball in New Hampshire? Because, you're our first guest from there. We don't really know a whole lot about that, the level. I mean, we've had guests on from different areas, and they're like, well, in my hometown, baseball is great, but like you have to travel and go outside to get true exposure to, colleges or upper level competition. But for you, obviously, you've got great stats, there. But what is the talent level like in New Hampshire?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, the Londonderry, where I'm from, is always usually a very prestigious baseball team for where I'm from. But I mean, if you're comparing it to like Florida, Georgia, like it's not going to compare to places like that just because of there's not as many people, I would say, and there's not as big a districts, so you don't really bring in as many kids. But I would say it's solid competition for some teams, but then there's other teams that can stoop pretty low, like compared to other places in the country for
Hey,
sure.
no matter what state it is, Daniel, being the best player from a state is being the best player from a state. It's one of
Uh,
50, man.
I mean, I'd like to be the best player in my city, in my zip code,
My
in my
neighborhood.
county, on my street.
You got to remember, I live down the street from way too many good people. I need to move.
I'm I'm telling you. But obviously, New Hampshire. Any notable professionals, pro baseball players from the state?
Yes, Brian Wilson. He was
Oh,
he's actually the uncle of he was the uncle of one of my teammates at my high
I'm
school.
glad you brought him up. I got on ESPN radio like what was that, Daniel? Like a few months back. They were talking about the best beards in sports, and somehow they weren't mentioning Brian Wilson. And me and Daniel were like,
Mm,
hold on, man. Like he literally was nicknamed the beard. What are we doing here? So anyway, I
yeah.
had to call in and they were like, and then they disqualified him because they said he dyed his beard, which Daniel, if I remember, his beard was pretty elite well before he was dyeing it.
I mean, he dyed it because that was like the next. It's like when you're elite, you have to up yourself, and like he was like, I'm gonna jet black this thing. I'm gonna up myself.
He'd already
And he's,
he'd already won a World Series. I mean, what are we talking about
I
here?
mean, it doesn't matter.
What's
Oh,
funny, Connor, is I didn't start covering ball till 2020 with Daniel, and I probably was watching it pretty like, like we were just talking about not watching to the College World Series stuff. I'm sitting there in LSU's, Hall of Fame looking around, and I'm like, of course, I watched plenty of MLB. I had no clue that Brian Wilson went to LSU. Daniel, do you even
Mhm.
know that?
yeah, I knew that. I did know that.
LSU Club
Here's a
vote.
Jim. Here's a fun fact for you. One of the best Cardinal pitchers to ever do it is from the state of New Hampshire.
Who's that?
Chris Carpenter.
Oh wow, that's an elite name drop right there. That's our
Elite.
dude.
I looked it up. I was curious. I knew there had to be more, and there's actually, in fact, I'll give you a quick little. There's
Yeah,
80,
we didn't pay
86.
attention. We didn't pay attention in U.S. history class or geography class, but I'm paying attention now. You got my attention.
I'm sorry. There's 56 total players, and Chris Carpenter is ranked third of those 56. Fred Brown is second, and he's was born in Ossipee in 1901. And then
Oh boy,
Harry
I didn't catch
Bemis
the
in
Fred Brown highlights, unfortunately.
Farmington, 1902. Right. I know that I just, the audience just tuned out when I talked about baseball from the 1900s, but I just wanted to educate people on the history of baseball in New Hampshire. And soon to be added to that list is Connor Fennell. So y'all just be on the lookout for that. But Connor, obviously you chose Dayton as your first school, and you mentioned having some boys still there, but why Dayton? Why was that a spot for you?
Yeah, well, I was planning on doing an extra year of high school. I was going to do a post-grad year after my senior year. And then late in that summer, I was having a pretty good summer playing with the New England Roughnecks. And then, King, he's been close with, my advisor who I'd worked with for a while. And, he came out to watch me and he said he wanted me as a 2023. He didn't want to wait for the post-grad year. He wanted me on campus that year. So, he kind of gave me an offer, gave me a scholarship that, me and my family liked a lot. And so we decided to go there and, take our chances.
Nice. You go 4-4, 4.74 ERA, 15 appearances. What did you learn from your time at Dayton? Obviously, you short stint, but you had to pull something away from there to carry with you. What was that?
Yeah, getting that experience against, Division I baseball and just kind of getting your first college experience definitely plays a big role in especially coming to a place like this, having 74 innings under your belt, only coming in as a second year. That helps a lot. It just makes you more comfortable when you're on the mound out there, even when you're transferring into a, prestigious conference compared to the A10. But
Yeah,
I
if
think
there's anything
that's probably the biggest thing.
if there's anything we know Dayton is a quality baseball program, especially over the last few years. So you go in there definitely is good experience, good exposure, which ultimately lands you at Vandy. Why was Vandy the school you chose out of the portal?
Yeah, Coach King gave the news to us one morning that he was, going with a job offer to Vanderbilt. So once I saw that Coach King was leaving, I entered the portal and decided that I wasn't going to go back to Dayton. And he reached out to me and wanted me to follow along with him with David Mendez as well. So, it just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, I love that because you're able to go with your coach and stick it out. And obviously to an elite program like Vanderbilt, man, what a destination, get to be under Coach Corbin.
Mhm.
Obviously, you see the pitchers that come out of Vanderbilt end up playing pro baseball. You know that they mold guys. So really awesome opportunity. And speaking of Coach Corbin, one of my favorite things, Daniel, you did this a couple weeks ago on a Vandy episode, but reading what Coach Corbin says about all the players. And for you, he said one of the 2 players who transferred in from Dayton, Connor had a very good freshman year, leading the Flyers in starts and innings pitched. He's a very confident young man who simply attacks the strike zone and pitches with zero fear. I love watching his compete level. He has done a great job strengthening his body and will likely impact our staff in his first year. I think this assessment is clearly spot on. You look at how you affected and attacking the strike zone like fearlessly is probably the best compliment you can get, especially having the success you have. So how does it feel, knowing that your coach coming into your first year, your new coach has that much confidence in you on the rubber?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great, knowing that he's got that trust behind you, and so does everyone else in that dugout. I mean, it just kind of gives you an extra push when you're out there. It takes a lot of stress off of your shoulders, knowing that you got all these guys behind you rooting for you that actually genuinely want you to like do well.
No doubt. And nothing short of spectacular. Listen to this, Daniel. 6-0, 2.53 RA, 2 saves, 84 Ks to only 11 walks. Daniel's favorite thing, we want to know your pitching arsenal. What pitches are you working with? Your teammate Sawyer Hawks, we had a lot of fun talking to him because he said coming from Air Force, he really only had 2 pitches. And when he got to Vandy, they really worked with him, tweaked some things. He's now got a 4-pitch mix. What are you looking at?
Yeah, right now I got a 4-seam fastball, changeup, and then a slider.
Nice.
What was is that what you carried with you from Dayton? I'm just curious because you had such good success, and no offense to Dayton and the A10, but it's not the SEC. And when you go 6-0 for a team like Vanderbilt, like what is different between those 2 years?
Yeah, last year at Dayton, I mean, I was skinnier than I am now. I know that's probably hard to believe, but I weighed even less than I do now. And I wasn't throwing as hard. My average fastball velo, I think, was like 84 last year. And, I have a pretty weird fastball, plays up a little, but I threw a lot of fastballs last year. I had fastball, changeup, cutter at Dayton, but the cutter was kind of like a slider. But once I got to Vanderbilt, they really, really helped me in the weight room. I got bigger, so the velo jumped, and then they developed my changeup, fastball, and slider all a ton. And I think that led to a lot more whiff.
What is the learning curve for you when, obviously, because being a pitcher, I understand like how this works, but a lot of just position guys or players that are listening, they don't really understand or grasp like how difficult it is just to put on weight and then to be able to pitch at a new weight because things move slower or things seem bulkier, and like to keep that same arm speed and to keep the same release point, if it's changing, is it higher, is it lower, like all of these things factor into how the ball is going to move and how the ball is going to come off your fingers, and even things as small as how much you put grip in the actual grip and how much pressure you put on the baseball all factors in. So when you're putting on weight and you're getting stronger, are you ever worried that there's going to be like this, now I'm going to have to learn a little bit something different on the mound, or I'm going to have to work a little bit harder on the mound to kind of counterbalance this new weight and this new body and this new frame?
Yeah, that's definitely something that comes into play. I mean, my senior year of high school, or coming into my senior year of high school, I gained 30 pounds really quickly. So, and I didn't really gain much velo, maybe 2 miles an hour at most. And it's just because I don't think I really knew how to move in that new body.
Yeah.
But, here we just really try to put on maybe not as much weight as fast, but good weight. Try to put, good muscle on and stay as athletic as possible. And obviously I'm blessed here. I mean, I have every metric, so I always know when something's wrong or if something's a little off. So I'm very blessed to have all the resources I have here, and that helps out a ton.
Hold on, I want to ask, what's I know you're going to get in the weight room again. What's your target weight you have overall for yourself? Because I know you got one.
Overall for my career, I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, where do you want to be by the time you're leaving Vanderbilt, hopefully playing professional baseball? What do you want to be when they list you on draft day?
Next year, I mean, I don't know if I'm aiming for a certain target weight, but I think like 195 to 200 would be a really good, if it's good weight, staying athletic, keeping my mobility. I think that 195 would be a really good weight for me to be at.
I mean, 6'1", 195 from Jim. I don't want to do this to you, Connor, but we have to look and we just have to just know how far you've come. All right. You're probably going to know this picture really well. But Jim, check this out. This is where we came from. This right here is Connor. That's where we came from. 6'1", 168. I mean,
got to come from somewhere, Daniel.
I mean,
I'm not going to judge. I graduated high school at 5'11", 61.
I mean, you're putting in. I put that up there just to kind of show like you put in work, like solid work. You can tell.
These weight or strength coaches, so to speak, in college baseball ain't no joke. I think people don't really understand how much baseball spends time in the weight room.
I do think that the one thing that has really catapulted baseball players specifically to make this change is what we've learned about exercise science and sport performance in regards to weight training and what trainers and athletic trainers and the recovery, just the whole side of that sports performance. We've learned so much about it that these guys are able to do sport specific workouts for these guys, and they all seem to like know what they're doing, and it just shows. But I do have a question. I've always wondered this is, do you think had you stayed at Dayton, do you think you would have been able to develop the velocity, the weight in the right way and been the same player? Do you think being at Vanderbilt is definitely a move that made you instrumental and making you better?
I mean, Vanderbilt is definitely was one of the best decisions in my life, in my career, to come here. Not even just as a baseball player, but as a human. But I mean, I would have had to work. It would have taken a lot more, off the field to get it done at Dayton. But I'm confident in my ability that I would have done whatever it took to get there.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping he
would say. Breaking news for you, Connor. Murray State's going to move on, man.
Murray State. How about that?
What happened?
Murray State eliminated Ole Miss.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Crazy, man. That's why you play the game.
They scored 150 runs in 4 baseball games.
I mean, you look at your team. You look at your team. You look at Texas. You look at Georgia. You look at Ole Miss. Man, this is crazy. But like I said, that's why you play the game. 64 teams, all hungry, all earn that spot, all can play ball. You just never know. It breaks one way or the other. There's no doubt in my mind that, on paper, y'all are a better team. On paper, Ole Miss is a better team, but it just happens that way. But I got to ask you, on this year, man, when you have 6-0 record and you have 2 saves and you have the strikeouts you do, what was your favorite outing of the year? Because when I was looking, man, I could have highlighted a few of them, and I figured I'd ask you yourself, what was your favorite?
Yeah, you guys might not like this answer, but Ole Miss was definitely my favorite outing. I loved playing in that environment, and it was I think my best start of the year. I mean, complete game, and I had 12 strikeouts, but playing in that environment was really cool too.
Kicking them while they're down, Daniel. Kicking them while they're down.
I mean, complete game shutout. K's 12. I mean, 3 hits, and I mean, let me tell you something. Obviously, here's the catch. It was only 7-inning baseball game.
Whoop the tail.
I mean, they were beating up on them pretty good, and that's 12 Ks in seven innings.
I didn't get to see you guys all year in person until the Hoover. I obviously watched you on TV plenty, but man, got to see that y'all were the real deal. Just how much fun was it, man? Obviously, Hoover is an event that me and Daniel try to tell everybody each year, man. All the SEC teams there, the The crowd is electric. Everybody's out there trying to win that and get that, that trophy. So how much fun was it to play against all those teams in that environment and obviously hoist the trophy at the end?
Yeah, Hoover was definitely one of the cooler experiences I've had in baseball and one of the cooler environments I've been in. Even when we first stepped on that field, I was like, wow, this field is, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And once you saw it packed with fans, it just makes it even cooler. So I was really excited to get out there and pitch, and I was lucky to pitch against Tennessee. But winning that tournament was definitely one of the coolest things I've done in the sport of baseball for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, like I said, it was fun to watch y'all. I thought it was an amazing, thing just to watch. And y'all had a solid fan base of people who were traveling. And, I got to talk to some of them and Daniel, it may not be by the thousands and thousands like maybe you'll get in Baton Rouge or LSU, but you got some diehards and you love to see it. And they were there just having a blast. And one thing I told people, Connor, every year that I'm there, the one thing that's cool about Hoover, when you're in a weekend environment, it feels like there's a lot of like negativity, hate, like it feels like all the fans get along in Hoover, right? It's just, man, we all just want to have fun and watch baseball. And it's something that, like, it's one of the reasons why I appreciate it, because on a weekend experience, you never know what you may find yourself into. Daniel knows over the last 5 years, I've had some weekends that we'd like to forget with me and some fans, but no, it's really cool. And I'm glad to see that y'all got to hoist it. Obviously we said we weren't going to really highlight, what just took place. I know it's a year that, while it comes up short of the expectations, definitely a year that I still feel like, you personally could be proud of for everything you've accomplished in your transfer. Gives you a lot to build on. And the last question I got for you is this summer, Cape, USA, Appalachian League, you got any plans, or is it just going to be, getting some rest and recuperation and hitting that weight room?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be doing much throwing over this summer, but I'm definitely gonna be hammering the weight room in the kitchen for sure. But you know, if you get a chance to play for Team USA, that's not something you can really turn down to play for your country. So if that opportunity strikes me, then I'd love to, but only time will tell with that.
Daniel, they want somebody literally, like Corbin says, attacks fearlessly. That's somebody I want on my squad.
I mean, 6-0. I mean, that's saying something.
The K to walk ratio is the one I love the most.
Yeah, it's
11 is where you get me.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's would be a hard pass on like saying no to Team USA, because it's just everyone we've talked to um that has been on Team USA has said it is by far probably the biggest like accomplishment that they've ever been able to do. And it all kind of hits them when they're standing on that line for the first time and they're listening to the national anthem and they're wearing USA across their chest. Like that's pretty special, man. So if you get the opportunity, I'm just a guy, but like it would be hard for me to say no to that. So but whatever it is, man, I'm sure you're going to be great great at it, and it's going to prepare you, for another season. But now we get to prepare you for off season. We get to prepare you for a little game. You want to play a game, Connor?
Yeah, let's do it.
You kind of say it creepy like the Saw thing, man. You trying to scare him out of here?
Yeah, just try to mix it up, make it scary, make it.
I've never heard you ask a guest like that.
I mean, if you really want me to do it,
I'll say it like this. Connor, do you want to play a game?
I didn't know you had that teed up ready. Look at you.
No, I have a couple of different things, but for tonight's game, we're gonna do some blind rankings. Have you ever done blind rankings before?
Yes, I've seen it on TikTok and stuff. So
all right, sweet. Yeah. So like it's pretty simple.
It's cool. With Vandy, with Riley Nelson, we got to do pitchers, and with you, we're gonna do hitters.
All right, so let me lay it out for you. You're going to blind rank from most to least like to face. So a batter, as you're a pitcher, so a batter in college baseball that you would most like to face, 1 up towards the top to 5 being I do not want to face them at all. Not on my best day.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
And so, Jim, when we're creating this, what's the context? Is it someone that like we want to face because we want the challenge, or we want to face because we know that we can get them out?
Well, because he's a competitor, I think he's the kind of guy that would want to face them all. But because they're all SEC hitters, he's going to be aware of them. And 4 out of 5 are guests on this show, so they're guys that I'm well aware of. And so we'll see just who he thinks is as good as we do, and maybe some guys that maybe he thinks a little bit less than we do.
All right. So obviously, I'm going to give you 5 names. I'm going to give you one at a time. As I give them to you, you're going to rank them. And wherever they go, they go. You don't get any say in who gets to come next. You just find out when you find out. So let's have some fun. Jim, who's this brought to you by?
Old Dominic Distillery in the heart of downtown Memphis. Actually, just got a message a little bit ago. Daniel, some more new product. They never stop grinding. Man, so much tradition. Like you said, over 100 years. You can find them on South Front Main Street in Memphis, or you can go to olddominic.com. Whiskey, vodka, bourbon, gin. They got it all. And, of course, Chinook Cedary, 8 flavors, mild to wild. Daniel, tell you what, I had those barbecue on tap while I was in Oxford. Maybe they should have had some too. Might would have changed the outcome. Maybe 2 roads have low blow, but must have not had Chinook in the dugout. That's the only thing I can figure.
That's the only thing I can think of too. But all right, Connor, let's get to it. The first player, our first hitter. Let's just throw this one out there. Jace Laviolette.
I mean,
where
based off my
putting
track
to?
history with him, I feel like I kind of have to put him 5.
Oh, he's owned it.
He's had your number,
he's,
huh?
So far, he's had my number. Yeah.
All right. Then number 2, Ike Irish, catcher.
Okay.
Utility player.
Then
Auburn.
Not a catcher anymore. He's been right fielder all year.
Yeah.
Yep. Didn't get to face him this year. He was out when we played him at Auburn. But I've heard nothing but good stuff. But I've never faced him, so I don't really know what it's like to face against him. So I'll put him 2.
2. All right.
You ain't scared? You don't care about them stats?
Oh, Ike. All right. What about Wahiwa Aloy?
Okay. I'll put him 3.
3. All right. What about Riley Nelson?
Oh.
Oof. I have faced him, but that was in the fall. I wasn't too hot in the fall at Vanderbilt. But, his bat to ball skills are pretty good. He fouls a lot of stuff off. I'm gonna put him 4-1 left.
That's it. 4-1.
I'll put Rhinell 4. I'll put Rhinell 4.
All right. Well, and that leaves you with Andrew Fisher going in at number 1 and
24 bombs.
Hey, I don't think you missed one. I mean,
but here's the thing, Daniel. I like this matchup, but let me explain why. Andrew leads the SEC in on-base percentage at like 520 is the last I looked. Connor doesn't walk guys, so Andrew's gonna have to make sure the bat's off the shoulder. Ain't no free pass on this one.
No, I think the only way to
what did you do when you did pitch against him? Do you remember?
Yeah, he was 1 for 2. He hit a home run, and then the next outing he hit a ground ball back to me.
Oh, we ran it. I didn't even look that up, Daniel, when I put him on there. I didn't even know.
I mean, hey, Andrew's had a great year. He's hit a lot of home runs, so chances are he's going to get you for something.
I predicted him for 30 though, Daniel. He's got 24. They're going to have to make a run to Omaha. He's going to have to keep hitting him if he's going to make my projection.
I mean, 7 is a lot.
It really shows last year with what Condon did, Daniel, because you still had 3 guys who were over 30 last year. He had 37. This year, Neville was the most at 27, and I think below that was like 23. So not nearly the same amount of bomb for hit as Charlie was knocking out last year. And Cags,
I think it shows you that. Speaking of Cags, he just got called up.
I mean, he should. He's hitting tanks in AAA. That dude's. You know what? They showed his leg muscles, Daniel. Speaking of weight room, that dude does not skip leg day. A pitcher with legs like that when he was in Florida, it's not even fair.
He's walking on trees. But Connor, man, we appreciate you taking some time with us tonight. Is there anything you want to plug or promote before you get out of here?
Nothing but Vandy, man. Anchor down.
Anchor down. It's gonna, obviously tough watch moving forward, but are you gonna take part in some watching of college baseball, or are you kind of like, I need a break. I need to disconnect for a little bit?
Nah, I'll for sure watch it. I always watch the rest of the season.
What's this? Murray State boys are in now. Look at this.
Student of the game. I mean, let's be real. LSU needs to wake
talk
up
about it. I wasn't even gonna talk about it. Don't tell them.
LSU needs to wake up.
They're down.
What's the score?
5-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Cowan. I was excited. I thought they had no chance of Cowan on the bump, and they ran him right off.
He said, "Get on up out of here." No, that's it, man. That's college baseball in a nutshell, man.
But Little Rock was under 500. Daniel, that's crazy. They had to win their tournament, to even have a chance, or not even have a chance to be in it. Period. And this would be the ultimate Cinderella of all Cinderellas. This would be the one.
I mean, remember that time when I was like, Little Rock to Supers, and you were like, Don't even.
You said it just to be funny. You didn't believe it when you said it.
No.
Anyway, moving on. Wrap up the episode. I ain't got time for this.
All right,
we're losing because I'm not watching, because I gave all my attention to Connor respectfully. Now I'm gonna be able to lock in. They're gonna do their thing.
I mean, I don't doubt it. I think they got plenty of game left. But Connor, man, appreciate the time. Obviously, you got off-season plans. What those are will be determined. But when you find out, let us know. We'll love to bring you on, talk to you about it once the summer and everything concludes and you get into the fall stuff. But
I'm a low-key Vandy fan now because I've liked all the guys that came in. I used to not like Vandy. We've came a long way, Daniel.
I mean, those black unis with pins, those are fire.
Good character athletes and fresh uniforms are definitely a way to get me on board.
But appreciate it, man. Best of luck. Stay safe. Stay hungry. As always, if there's anything we could do for you, reach out to us, man.
Yes, sir. Of course. Thank you guys for having me on.
Appreciate it. That's Connor Fennell, everybody. If you like hearing Connor's story, or you just like hearing Average Joes talk X's and O's, please share the podcast on Facebook. Head over to YouTube, click like, subscribe, notifications. That way you're first to know when new content is dropped. Jim, we got a couple more this week. What we got?
Yeah, we got Ava Garza. Man, we're going to do something different. We're going to talk to a sports reporter of college baseball, try to mix it up. And then Wednesday, man, we got a mix of like 3 different possibilities. Trying to figure out how I want to do this before we go on break. So may do all 3, may do 1, but just know there's definitely going to be episodes, plural.
Got some stuff in the works coming at you. Y'all stay tuned for the goods. It's coming. But Jim, appreciate it. Another good episode. We'll see y'all tomorrow night. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We're out.